All right, guys, yo, what's up? It's your boy Jesse coming to you today with another video. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the occult and what the Catholic Church actually teaches about the occult. Because I see a lot of people who practice some of the occult things that they don't even realize are part of the occult. And we're going to go over, especially astrology and a few other things, but astrology is going to be the top thing I talk about because that is the most common thing that I see here in the Philippines and around the world. But before I get into it, guys, y'all know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button if you like the videos that I make. You liking and subscribing is the best way to ensure that I'm able to continue to make videos like this. It's the best way to support me. And let's try and shoot for 1K followers. All right, guys. Now, let's get into it. I have made videos about my time in the occult and the stuff I've practiced, because I practiced some pretty strange things, to say the least. And so I know how dangerous some of this stuff can be. It can be very dangerous. One of the things that I studied was astrology. Now, I will give a caveat to this, that the astrology that I studied in the occult is not exactly how we use astrology today. The astrology that we use today is just like people think the stars can somehow influence your life, your personality. They think that the way certain constellations are could influence your future and all this other stuff. And I've seen on social media sites, and now this was a few years ago when I was on dating sites. I seen this on there too. I don't know if people still do it on the dating sites, but they still do it on the social media. And that is, what is your astrological sign? That should not matter. And that is an occult practice. Astrology is part of the occult. It does not matter what sign you're born under. I'm getting a master's in space studies, guys. And my concentration in that is astronomy. Astronomy comes from astrology. However, there's no reputable astronomer, no reputable person at all who studies space that will tell you that these stars mean anything. They don't mean anything. They have nothing to do with your personality. They have nothing to do with your future. They're just stars. That's it. They're just stars in the sky. Stars are beautiful. Stars, they're one of the most amazing things in our universe, but they don't mean anything in your life. You cannot find any scientific study that can back that up. In fact, you can find videos all over YouTube. There's a guy named James Randi. Now, I don't agree with everything that James Randi believed. He was an atheist, but he was also a magician. And he offered a large sum of money to people to prove that they had different kinds of abilities. Several of his videos are over people who studied and practiced astrology. It's hard to falsify things. It's hard to say that you can prove something wrong. And that's what science wants to do. Science likes to falsify their ideas. Science likes to be able to come up with ideas that you can prove wrong. When it comes to metaphysical things or religious things, those are hard to falsify. Somehow, though, the Amazing Randi, that's what he went by, the Amazing Randi, was able to put tests in place that could basically almost completely falsify, completely show that astrology doesn't work. He had them do tests, and I don't remember exactly how it went, but based off of the stars people were born under, and he would tell them what their personality should be like, or this and that, and all this other stuff. And I think there were 12, because there were 12 different constellations, and I think maybe he got 2 right, which amounts to luck. Based off your odds, if you get 2 right out of 12, that's luck. That's what that is. I think it might be less than luck. He did worse than luck. It might have been just 1, which is even worse than what you would get with luck. I think luck is like 1 in 4 chances, or 1 in 5, something like that. They got like 1 in 6 or 1 in 12. It's one of those two. That's worse than what you would get off pure luck. That's how bad it is. That's how false it is. The Catholic Church teaches you cannot practice astrology and be a Catholic. That is a form of the occult. If you're a Catholic and you're practicing that stuff, you should not be taking the Eucharist, and you need to go to confession. You need to confess your sins and then take the Eucharist. But after that, stop practicing it. Stop reading the stars, because it means nothing anyhow. You are being deceived by demonic powers if you believe that. Another one, these people who say they can talk to the dead. I know for sure that's in the Bible. In the Bible, it talks about people being able to summon the dead and talk to the dead and all this. Not just in the Catholic Church. It's not just Catholic Church randomly saying this. It literally says in the Bible, do not go to those types of people. Nope. First off, nobody can actually talk. Well, okay, people can talk to the dead, but the dead ain't going to talk back. It ain't going to be a spirit of somebody that talks back. If they do hear something talk back to them, they're either mentally ill or it's a demonic spirit. There's no way for a person to legitimately do that. And I will tell you how bad it is. Some of these people who prey on other people, who charge a lot of money to be able to let someone who may have lost a family member be able to talk to that person. These people who say they can do that are predators. They're terrible human beings. And I remember watching one. It was I think it was MSNBC or NBC, which is a branch of MSNBC, I think. The news reporter gave the lady a picture and said that this little girl had died and disappeared. They don't know where her body is. It was back in the 70s. And so the psychic lady, old lady, looked over it and said, yeah, I can help. Come on over. And they did a whole documentary on this. And the psychic lady said, yeah, sadly, this little girl died a violent death. It was not good. Well, that picture of that little girl was the news lady giving the interview. That little girl never died. That little girl was the news lady, gave the interview. And it just showed that these people, these psychics, they're what they're doing, they're just preying on people who are hurt. They're preying on the most vulnerable people who've lost loved ones, the people who want to hear from those that they love. One more time, these psychics, they use that to their advantage. They're psychopath or maybe antisocial. Might be antisocial or a sociopath. Probably not a psychopath. They're one of those three. I just don't know which one. Because they don't care how you feel. They do not care at all how you feel. As long as they get their money from you, that's all they want. It's also helpful to know that if psychics really had this power to be able to talk to the dead people who have went missing, you know, the FBI would be FBI. For those of you in the Philippines, the FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. These people, they're basically like police officers, but they have a higher authority, and they can work in the whole country and not just smaller states. If psychics could really do that, then the FBI would be hiring them left and right. There has never been a case ever that a psychic has helped find a missing person who died or who's probably dead. There's never been a case that's ever happened. There's another one I remember. Person said that this person had died and that they were buried under water or something like that, and the person never died. That person showed up decades later, or maybe it was 10 years later or something like that. They showed up, and it shows how much psychics can harm too. That seriously, if people had listened to that psychic say stuff like that, they would have stopped looking, or they wouldn't have looked as much. They would have put their resources on trying to find cases where people might still be alive. These psychics are doing so much to harm our society, and they're doing so much to hurt those who are already hurt. And of course, the Bible says not to deal with those people. If we just listen to what the church teaches, if we just listen to what the Bible teaches on that, this wouldn't be a problem. These people would be out of business. These people couldn't prey on the weak and the vulnerable, the ones who are sad, if we just listen to what the church teaches. And for my friends in the Philippines, I know you guys, it's a very superstitious country, but if you want to follow what the Catholic Church actually teaches, it teaches that you can't deal with that kind of stuff. You can't deal with astrology. What's another one that's common here in the Philippines? Oh, there's one here in the Philippines. I was telling my fiance that she cannot, in good faith, believe that kind of stuff. I don't remember what it was, but there are superstitious ideas that the church clearly teaches you should not believe. So for my Catholic friends here in the Philippines, you need to read up on church doctrine, read what the church teaches. And you can come at me and you can say, you don't understand this and that. I understand Catholic doctrine. That's what I understand. And I'm saying this to my American friends too, or friends from anywhere, even my Catholic friends around the world. I understand Catholic doctrine. I understand what the Catholic Church teaches. And it clearly teaches you absolutely cannot do that. You can't trust these people. And I'm also telling you this because I don't want you to go give away your money to someone who's going to deceive you and lie to you. It's not just about what the church teaches. It's about you. It's about your life. And especially here in the Philippines, people don't have a lot of money. So when these psychics or these people who read the tarot cards and all that, they're just taking what little money you have. They're using the pain that you feel so they can get rich. It's not good. Don't let them do that to you. Don't let them do that to anyone. If someone in your family is into it, get them to stop. It's not good for your soul because it will send you to hell. Occult practices like that will send you straight to hell. It's also not good for your body. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your pocketbook, your wallet. Stop doing it. And I want to include the astrology in there on your Facebook or whatever social media you use. Facebook is probably the most common here in the Philippines. But from around the world, get rid of that. It doesn't matter anyhow. It's just wasted energy to put that in your profile. It's wasted words. Not only does the church teach it's wrong, it's nothing. Maybe if you want to tell people when you were born, just put when you were born or put the month you were born. Don't play this astrology crap. Don't give those people more power than what they already have to hurt others. It's not worth it. So, oh my God, I went on a rant that I didn't expect to go on. I get so frustrated with this stuff. I get so frustrated because I see how bad people hurt. And I see how terrible some people are on taking advantage of that. I have mixed feelings on witch doctors. Well, what we would call in America witch doctors. Here in the Philippines, they call them something else. But they're kind of a natural healer. They use natural means. I have mixed feelings on that because I've not been to one personally. My fiance has. And I can understand using like herbs, herbal stuff, using essential oils, things like that to help. The problem comes when there's a belief that you're being attacked by a spirit, and I'm not exactly sure what it is that people believe that witch doctors can do. Because I'm a big fan of the herbal stuff. I'm a big fan of taking herbal medicine. I'm a big fan of using essential oils. But I will do everything I can first, naturally, before I start taking chemicals. Headaches, best thing, water. For depression, I try St. John's worts. Used to take an herbal medicine in the USA as well. I can't remember the name of it. I think it would work. It might have just been a placebo. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking, if I have a stuffy nose, taking some essential oils or something and using that to open my airway. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when people start to believe weird things that clearly you should not be believing if you're Catholic. So just be careful with that, my friends, especially here in the Philippines. There are some people who believe some things that I've called out, and I will call it out. If I see something, someone says they're Catholic, but they're believing in these weird ideas that go directly against the Catholic Church, I call it out. Because you can't be a faithful Catholic and believe something that the church says you should not believe. It's a contradiction. If you want to be faithful, you have to believe everything the church teaches. So just be careful, my friends. So don't come at me. Don't get angry. I'm saying this because I care and I don't want people to, basically go to hell. I don't want people to lose their Catholic faith because they believe things that are not Catholic, that are actually against what the church teaches. That's all I want to say. That's my rant for today. That's what I wanted to go over, was this idea of the occult practices. But let me know what y'all think. Is there anything that you may or may not have believed that the Catholic Church teaches against when it comes to occultism? And how do you feel about the stuff I've said? Do you think any of it's real or whatnot? And we can have a discussion. I'd love to have a discussion about this because this is something I used to practice too. So I'd love to talk about it. And of course, guys, as always, know y'all are valuable and that you matter. God bless and peace.